So let's bring up Dennis Rodman for a second, because I would.
You brought him up. I didn't bring him up.
Okay, and I'm watching the Spurs games as a kid, and I remember he would take his shoes off, and he would sit on the floor, where he wasn't actually on the court, but almost on the court.
Right.
And he would sit there, and he would somehow kind of be, his hair would be green, and he'd be sitting there and kind of just watching the game. And I wasn't really sure what was happening, but I knew that he was not happy about something. And then I look on the court and I see you, and I see different other players, and like Sean Elliott was a member of that team, and you see guys that their hair's maybe not green and they're not sitting on the, you didn't. I don't remember you taking your shoes off a lot. I don't remember that. So how did Coach Popovich deal with that sort of personality there? Because Dennis was awesome in a lot of ways. He did a lot of fabulous things and contributed to your success. But what did he do? How did he deal with it?
Pop wasn't coaching at the time. Popovich wasn't coaching there at the time. He was a general manager, I believe, at that time.
Okay.
So the coaching staff, it's a hard deal. I mean, I think with those type of situations, you're not trying to change the personality of the person.
Okay.
I mean, his energy and enthusiasm, his individuality was a very strong thing. One thing I learned with my children when they were small was it didn't do me a whole lot of good to pit myself against them. I needed to shape their personality, not to break them. If your son is strong-willed, then you're not trying to make him a compliant child. The strong will is going to be a great talent, a great feature for that young man when he grows up. You don't want him to stop being strong-willed. What you want him to do is understand and get on board with your program. And so that was what we tried to do with Dennis. We said, we're not trying to change you, Dennis. We're trying to focus you to be a great addition to this team as opposed to a distraction or a problem. So
the action steps I'm hearing here is, one, you never want to publicly criticize somebody if at all possible.
Well, I wouldn't say never, but certainly it would be your last resort.
Last resort.
Yeah. If you can correct someone privately, then that would be my preferred method of doing it. On occasion, if people are particularly disrespectful and disruptive, then I would say it might be appropriate to be public about your criticism.
Is there anything that you really do at your organizations to galvanize people? Because I have never met somebody who's worked directly at Carver yet. But you've been around long enough. How many years has Carver been around?
12 years.
12 years. Yeah. It's been around long enough where I remember being in the, there was a magazine in San Antonio that wrote a feature piece about your school. And then there was a program I saw, and then but you've been around long enough where people can write reviews about you, they can write online feedback, there's been articles written about you.
Right.
And it seems like there is a team spirit. Like people are galvanized with this cause, and to spare, pardon the analogy, but it's almost like you're shooting a BB at this battleship. We have a culture of people who are not being educated. They don't have mentorship. It could seem hopeless.
Right.
But yet you're giving people hope, and your employees are galvanized. They are pumped. They're excited about the cause. How do you do that?
Showing them that they are making a difference. I think we have to, number one, you have to have some results. That people get encouraged by results when they can see that their efforts are bringing about some fruit. And so we are very, we think it's very important to reward those teachers and to reward those students and make sure that they understand that they're making a difference. And for our kids, you're right. Sometimes you feel like, how am I going to change the world? Yeah. What am I going to do? I don't have any resources. I'm just beginning to learn. I'm beginning this process. How will I go out there and make a change? And we get them to understand that that number one, they were created uniquely. They have been given talents. They have everything they need for success. Another quote by George Washington Carver, which I love. He says, you have 2 arms, 2 legs. You have everything you need for success. And that's the truth. Or even if you don't have that, you have life, you have breath. Yeah. So I think that's the key, is to understand that we are capable of impacting just even the people around us, and who knows how that ripple affects the rest of the world.
As I build a team, people buy into me, don't they? If I own a business and I'm watching this, people, if they don't like me, or they don't buy into me, and they don't agree with me or the way I present myself or the way, I can't grow a company.
Absolutely. You can draw people in or you can push people back. There have been organizations that I wanted to get involved with because I liked the idea of the organization, but then I met the people involved with it and I decided not to get involved. So you can be a positive force for your company or a negative force. And as a leader, you certainly want to focus on being one that draws people in.